Behind the glitz, the fame, and the relentless flash of cameras lies a far darker reality, one shadowed by mystery, tragedy, and chilling questions that still have no clear answers. Over the years, several prominent Black entertainers and public figures have died under unsettling circumstances tied to suspected poisoning, leaving fans shaken and desperate for the truth. Some say as many as 9 influential figures, from groundbreaking artists and powerful politicians to legendary music icons, met eerily similar ends. These were people who once stood at the very height of success. They weren't taken by bullets or tragic accidents. Instead, their lives unraveled quietly after ordinary meals. What began as something as simple as food turned into a silent threat, weakening their bodies before ending in shocking deaths. And the stories you're about to hear reveal just how dangerous something seemingly harmless can become, and how one meal can change everything forever. Ali Khalif Ghaled. A quiet lunch that would become the invisible blade ending the life of a Somali statesman. Ali Khalif Ghaled was a respected scholar and seasoned politician, a former prime minister who navigated Somalia through turbulent years with the calm mind of an intellectual and the authority of a veteran leader. In early October 2020, he arrived in Jigjiga, Ethiopia, continuing his familiar role as a senior political voice attending high-level meetings about the region's fragile future. A formal lunch banquet was arranged, attended by senior leaders from the Ogaden National Liberation Front along with Ethiopian officials. The setting was orderly, dignified, almost routine. Plates were served neatly. Conversations were diplomatic. No one imagined that this ordinary meal would mark the beginning of his final days. After the banquet, everything seemed normal. Ghaled returned to his schedule, resting and working from his hotel room like any seasoned politician on a busy trip. But less than half a day later, his body began to betray him. In the early hours of October 4th, waves of abdominal pain struck, first dull, then sharp and relentless. Severe diarrhea followed. Endless vomiting. His strength faded rapidly, as though draining away by the hour. His face turned pale, cold sweat soaking the bedsheets while those around him watched his condition spiral downward. As his health worsened day by day, requests for specialized medical care fell into a strange and troubling silence. Proposals for hospitalization, emergency transfers, and urgent intervention were delayed, even ignored, by local officials. Time slipped away. Every minute grew more precious, yet decisions moved painfully slow, wrapped in unexplained hesitation. On October 8, 2020, inside a hotel room in Jigjiga, Ali Khalif Ghaled died at the age of 79. A man who had endured political storms and intense negotiations left this world quietly, without the medical attention many believe could have saved him, leaving behind a cloud of unanswered questions. What made the case more unsettling was the nature of his symptoms. There were no respiratory problems, no cough, no shortness of breath, no prolonged high fever. Yet in the chaos of 2020, COVID-19 became a convenient explanation. Local authorities quickly announced the coronavirus as the cause of death, as if every unusual symptom could be forced into a single narrative. But the doctor who personally treated Ghaled at the hotel strongly disagreed. According to him, the symptoms were strikingly consistent with acute food poisoning or possibly toxin poisoning. The intensity and speed of the body's reaction were far beyond a typical bacterial infection. Later expert evaluations deepened the mystery, suggesting exposure to toxins rather than common foodborne bacteria. Medical experts argued that Ghaled should have been hospitalized immediately, his stomach pumped, and antidotes administered. Yet he was never transferred to a hospital. His death triggered waves of debate. Could a respected scholar and former prime minister truly die from a simple digestive illness? The rushed COVID-19 explanation, openly challenged by the attending physician, only fueled suspicion. Details began to connect: the private banquet, the unusual symptoms, the unexplained medical delays, and the swift, vague official conclusion. From these fragments grew a chilling theory, a political assassination hidden behind a medical narrative. No definitive proof has ever emerged. No official conclusion has satisfied the public. But the unanswered questions remain heavy enough to unsettle anyone who examines the case. A meal that appeared harmless became a haunting clue. A routine business trip became a final journey. Ali Khalif Geleda's death closed the chapter of a powerful Somali political thinker, yet opened a lingering mystery about what truly happened behind closed doors. In the world of politics, where even a handshake can conceal deeper intentions, sometimes the most ordinary moment, even a shared meal, can become an invisible blade. And in Jigjiga, in October 2020, that unseen blade may have ended the life of a man who once stood at the center of power, leaving a shadow that still lingers today. Mashood Abiola. Mashood Abiola. A single cup of tea in a sealed meeting room became the final chapter in the life of Nigeria's most powerful symbol of democracy. A wealthy entrepreneur turned influential political figure, Abiola represented hope for millions during one of the nation's darkest eras. A man whose name carried the promise of change and freedom. July 7, 1998. A closed meeting room. 4 years after being held in harsh imprisonment, Abiola was finally brought in to meet a U.S. delegation. The discussion centered on a possible release, and despite the tense atmosphere, there was a fragile sense of anticipation. He walked into the room visibly worn down, his body thin from years of confinement, yet his eyes remained sharp, steady, and deeply aware of the power games surrounding him. The meeting had barely begun when Abiola suddenly started coughing, dry, violent fits that seemed impossible to control. At first, no one sensed danger. Trying to help, delegation member Susan Rice poured him a cup of tea from a pot already shared among others. It was a simple human gesture meant to soothe his throat. Just tea. Nothing unusual. Nothing threatening, or so it seemed. Within minutes of drinking it, everything changed. A sudden wave of heat rushed through his body, spreading rapidly like fire under the skin. Sweat poured down his face and neck, soaking his clothes. His complexion shifted, his breathing turned erratic. In growing distress, he lost control and removed his shirt, an act shocking to those who knew how strictly he followed his religious values. The room fell silent as the abnormality became undeniable. Abiola staggered, lost balance, and collapsed. He was rushed to a nearby military hospital as time seemed to stretch endlessly. 90 minutes later, Mashood Abiola was pronounced dead. International forensic experts later concluded the official cause of death was acute heart failure. On paper, the case appeared closed. But in the hearts of many Nigerians, questions never stopped rising. The symptoms had appeared too suddenly, too violently, moments after he consumed the drink. Rumors of poisoned tea spread quickly, embedding themselves deep into the nation's political memory. Some medical analyses suggested the possibility that a powerful irritant or shock-inducing substance could have triggered severe cardiovascular complications. After 4 years in captivity, Abiola's health had been fragile, his body exhausted, his resilience worn thin. In such a weakened state, even a minor trigger could have unleashed a catastrophic chain reaction. Speculation grew louder. Was it simply unfortunate timing? A failing heart at the very moment he stood closest to freedom? Or was it a carefully concealed act meant to silence a powerful voice? No direct evidence ever confirmed foul play, yet unanswered details kept doubt alive. That lingering mystery ensures Abiola's death is revisited again and again whenever late 20th century Nigerian politics is discussed. Because in the world of power, the greatest threats aren't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, they arrive quietly, disguised as the smallest, most ordinary things, at the very moment people believe they are finally safe. Sani Abacha. Sani Abacha. The deadly apple in the presidential palace that turned Nigeria's iron-fisted ruler into a corpse. A powerful general who held absolute control over Nigeria for years, Abacha governed with an uncompromising grip, leaving scars on the nation's political landscape and shaping the democratic shift that followed his rule. No one expected his story to end on an ordinary morning, June 8, 1998, in Abuja, inside one of the most heavily guarded presidential residences in Africa. The night before had passed quietly, just another evening in the life of a leader surrounded by layers of security. But as dawn arrived, Abacha suddenly collapsed, sending shockwaves through the entire power structure. A head of state in his mid-50s, dead without warning at the very center of authority. The first explanation sounded simple: a heart attack. Plausible on the surface, yet unable to silence the strange details that quickly surfaced. Before collapsing, Abacha had eaten an apple brought into the residence by female attendants, part of his usual morning routine before dressing and preparing for the day. A small, ordinary habit suddenly became a focal point for suspicion. In a world shaped by power struggles and political enemies, even an innocent bite took on darker meaning. Reports circulated that foreign intelligence analysts noted possible signs of chemical toxins. Witness accounts described his final moments as deeply unsettling: foaming at the mouth, a sudden drop in body temperature, violent convulsions, symptoms far removed from the typical progression of a natural heart attack. Medically, such reactions can be linked to certain neurotoxins or substances that disrupt the cardiovascular system, triggering fatal rhythm disturbances and rapid nervous system collapse. The mystery only deepened with the response from those closest to him. There was no autopsy, no independent medical investigation. His body was buried the same day, reportedly in accordance with Islamic rites. Yet the speed of the burial, especially for a sitting head of state, raised eyebrows across the world. Security officials insisted there was no evidence of poisoning, emphasizing that Abacha had been under immense pressure, his health declining, and that a heart attack was a natural outcome. Still, the official narrative struggled against the growing web of unanswered questions. A routine apple, a sudden and violent physical reaction, a leader surrounded by enemies, a nation at a critical political crossroads, and a death that almost instantly cleared the path for democratic transition. To this day, Abacha's death remains suspended between two opposing narratives. On one side stands official affirmation without detailed medical proof. On the other lies a trail of speculation about a carefully concealed assassination. Yet beyond the unresolved truth, the impact is undeniable. Within months, Nigeria entered a new era. Military dominance weakened. The doors to democracy began to open. Whether coincidence or consequence, Abacha's sudden death marked the dramatic end of one of the country's harshest ruling periods and the uncertain dawn of a new political chapter. Alamehu Atamsa, a rising force in Ethiopian politics, young, bold, and fiercely committed to cleaning up corruption, once stood at the heart of Oromia's future. After becoming president of the Oromia region in 2010, his influence grew quickly, fueled by fearless reforms and a reputation for integrity. But soon after his inauguration, his body began sending troubling signals: sharp abdominal pain, relentless diarrhea, and waves of vomiting that refused to fade. At first, they seemed like ordinary digestive issues. Yet even after self-medicating, his condition only worsened. Forced to step away from work and miss critical meetings, Atamsa traveled to Thailand seeking specialized treatment. For 4 long years, his health became a storm he could never fully escape. Moments of hope followed by sudden relapses that left him weaker each time. Eventually, doctors uncovered the cause. Campylobacter jejuni, a bacterium commonly linked to undercooked poultry or contaminated dairy, had triggered a rare autoimmune reaction that attacked his own heart muscle. A complication so uncommon it appears in only a tiny fraction of digestive disease cases, yet it became his silent executioner. On March 6, 2014, in a Bangkok hospital room, Atamsa's condition suddenly collapsed. His skin turned cold, sweat poured from his body, and his heartbeat fell into chaotic rhythm. The man who once stood strong before the public, fearlessly confronting corruption, now faced an invisible enemy he could not defeat. Hours later, despite desperate efforts to save him, his life slipped away. News of his death sent shockwaves back to Ethiopia, where allies and opponents alike were forced to confront a painful truth: even the strongest leaders can fall to unseen forces. The autopsy concluded that myocarditis, caused by the Campylobacter infection, ended his life. Yet suspicion lingered. His aggressive anti-corruption campaign had earned him powerful enemies, and the timing of his illness, beginning soon after taking office, fueled whispers of political conspiracy. Though medical findings were clear, rumors of foul play refused to fade. Today, Alamehuatamsa remains a symbol of courage and reform, a reminder of both the hidden dangers leaders face and the fragile line between power, illness, and political conflict. His name endures, not only for the battles he fought, but for the mysterious and tragic way his journey came to an end. Jimmy Lunceford. Jimmy Lunceford, a roadside bowl of chili that may have pushed a swing legend toward a fatal heart attack. A brilliant saxophonist and the polished leader of one of the most influential swing bands in American jazz history, Lunceford stood as a symbol of elegance and musical excellence, a man whose rhythms touched millions of hearts. On July 12, 1947, he arrived in Seaside, Oregon, a small yet lively coastal town, while touring with his band. The morning felt ordinary. Sunlight streamed through the windows of a roadside diner where Lunceford stopped for a quiet meal. A steaming plate of chili was set before him, and he enjoyed it with the calm joy of a new day on the road. But about 30 minutes later, something changed. A heavy fatigue settled over him. His stomach tightened with sharp cramps, waves of pain twisting his expression as sweat gathered on his forehead. Still, Lunceford tried to ignore the warning signs. Determined not to disappoint fans, he went on to a nearby record store for an autograph session. With each step, however, his body grew weaker. His heart pounded erratically, his breathing turned shallow and uneven. Outside, his face grew pale, sweat soaking through his clothes. Then, without warning, he collapsed inside the store, his body trembling violently before falling still. The scene became a haunting final image. The man who carried swing music across America lying silent as shocked fans and bandmates watched in disbelief. The music stopped, the smiles vanished, and a painful silence filled the room. The official autopsy listed coronary artery blockage as the cause of death, a conclusion that seemed medically reasonable. Yet those who had been closest to Lunceford never forgot the severe abdominal pain that struck him soon after that diner meal. Many believed the food had triggered the chain of events. Modern medical insight suggests their suspicions were not impossible. Acute food poisoning or severe physiological stress can trigger dangerous cardiovascular complications, especially in individuals with a history of hypertension like Lunceford. When the body reacts violently to toxins or bacteria, heart rate can spike, blood pressure can surge, and a sudden cardiac event may follow. His death also unfolded within a darker historical reality. At the time, Black artists regularly faced discrimination and hostility while traveling. Many diners refused service outright. According to band members' recollections, the owner of the diner initially refused to serve them, glaring with open contempt and even spitting on the ground. Only after Lunceford spoke quietly to him did the man agree to prepare food. The chili was served personally by the owner, though his discomfort was obvious. That tense encounter later fueled rumors of possible intentional harm, rumors that were never formally investigated. In an era when justice was rarely pursued for Black victims, questions lingered unanswered, leaving Lunceford's final chapter clouded by mystery, sorrow, and a silence history has never fully resolved. Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson. A single poisoned glass of whiskey that pushed a blues legend into one of music's darkest tragedies. Known as a groundbreaking guitarist and haunting vocalist, Johnson left behind melodies that still echo through generations, shaping the soul of American blues. Yet his mysterious death on August 16, 1938, in Mississippi continues to haunt fans to this day. He was only 27 years old, another brilliant life cut short under chilling circumstances. In the days leading up to his death, Johnson was doing what he always did, playing gritty bars, singing raw truths, and captivating crowds. No one imagined that a simple drink, something so ordinary in those smoky rooms, would become the beginning of the end. On August 13th, shortly after taking a sip of whiskey, his body began to revolt. Violent convulsions tore through his arms and legs before spreading uncontrollably. Witnesses described him growling in pain, eyes wide, muscles locked tight, veins straining beneath his skin. Panic filled the room as friends watched him collapse, crawling on all fours, his body arching in agony, wheezing like a man fighting an invisible monster. The symptoms matched what many later believed to be strychnine poisoning, a toxin that attacks the spinal cord, blocking the body's ability to control muscle movement and triggering relentless spasms. For 3 agonizing days, Johnson battled his own body. Each breath became a struggle, each tremor another wave of suffering. Those around him tried desperately to help, but medical care was far away and travel was expensive. As hours turned into days, exhaustion took over. His limbs weakened, his heartbeat grew erratic, and his breathing came in shallow, broken bursts. 3 days after that fatal drink, Robert Johnson took his final breath. The spasms finally stopped, but the horror of his final moments never faded from those who witnessed it. Doctors later explained how strychnine, an alkaloid that blocks glycine, the spinal cord's calming neurotransmitter, can send nerve signals into chaos, forcing the body into relentless, uncontrollable contractions. Yet despite the clear signs of poisoning, no one was ever arrested. Rumors suggested the bar owner, a jealous man who believed Johnson had flirted with his wife, may have been responsible. If true, a tragic misunderstanding robbed the world of one of blues' greatest voices. In the end, neither talent nor fame could protect Robert Johnson from the danger hidden inside a single glass of whiskey, and his legend lives on, forever shadowed by the mystery of his final days. Georges Rabel. Georges Rabel. A brilliant pianist whose final days turned from music into a nightmare no artist should face. Georges Rabel was a gifted black pianist and composer who helped bring Caribbean classical traditions and the works of Manuel Smell to global audiences, proving that black artists belonged firmly within the Western classical world. On July 18, 2006, Rio de Janeiro became the starting point of a heartbreaking tragedy. That morning, he was full of excitement, preparing new musical projects that blended rich Caribbean melodies with refined European piano technique, eager to share something truly special with Brazilian listeners. But a single meal changed everything. Only hours after eating, Rabel began to feel an unusual exhaustion creeping through his body. Nausea followed, then relentless diarrhea that quickly drained his strength. He shivered uncontrollably, his heart racing as sweat soaked his forehead. Still, driven by dedication, he tried to push forward with his performance plans. His condition deteriorated at a terrifying speed. Within hours, Rabel was completely drained, his body fragile like a candle flickering in the wind. The violent symptoms pointed toward severe food poisoning, likely caused by a dangerous toxin such as Staphylococcus aureus. Continuous vomiting and dehydration threw his electrolytes into chaos. His blood pressure crashed, his kidneys struggled to function, and his heartbeat became dangerously irregular. Friends and colleagues abandoned the schedule and rushed him to the hospital. Doctors fought to save him with emergency treatment, 4 fluids, constant cardiovascular monitoring, and every urgent measure available. But the poison's damage kept spreading beyond control. After 3 agonizing days, his body could no longer fight back. Acute kidney failure and severe metabolic collapse led to cardiac arrest. On July 21st, he passed away in a hospital bed, painfully thin and exhausted, leaving the world stunned. To many, Georges Rabel's death became a harsh reminder of the hidden dangers artists can face while touring abroad. A seemingly harmless meal, a moment of overlooked food safety, can turn into an irreversible tragedy. Even after his passing, heartbreak continued. Some of his valuable music manuscripts, his life's work, were reportedly taken by dishonest organizers. Unfinished compositions and carefully preserved Caribbean melodies lost their rightful ownership, leaving a painful gap in cultural history. His sudden death did not only take a life filled with music and promise, it also raised urgent questions about artist protection, intellectual rights, and the fragile preservation of creative legacy. Purcell Thomas. Purcell Thomas, the piano prodigy whose life unraveled after a poisoned meal at a bustling music joint. A rising star of blues and boogie-woogie, he was already celebrated in the early Black American music scene, hailed as a brilliant future for the genre before his story was cut tragically short in his teens. Detroit, May 30, 1926, an industrial city glowing after dark, where crowded clubs pulsed with the thunder of piano keys. That night, Purcell took the stage at Penny's Pleasure with small hands and astonishing skill, unleashing boogie-woogie rhythms that sent the crowd into a fever of cheers and non-stop applause. After the performance, he stayed behind to eat at the club, simple, familiar food that no one suspected could become the seed of disaster. Within hours, his body turned against him. Sharp abdominal pain struck. Sweat soaked his skin. His face went pale, his breathing grew frantic. At first, people assumed it was exhaustion from relentless playing, but the symptoms worsened quickly. Violent vomiting and crippling cramps curled his thin frame into agony. The night dragged on endlessly as his strength slipped away minute by minute. By dawn, he was rushed to a hospital, but facilities serving the Black community were painfully under-resourced. No advanced testing, no reliable ways to detect infection, only guesswork and experience. He was given basic medicine and sent home, already drained and fading. Back at home, fever consumed him. Waves of chills and burning heat tormented his body, each breath heavier than the last. Classic signs of severe food poisoning appeared, yet no one fully understood the danger. In the 1920s, many Black music venues struggled with poor sanitation. Improperly stored meat, milk, and ready-made meals were easily contaminated with bacteria like Salmonella or Listeria, silent threats that could trigger brutal gastrointestinal infections, dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, and even septic shock. For a fragile teenager like Hersal, the decline was swift and merciless. Over the following days, his condition only worsened. With no antibiotics and no proper rehydration therapy, every effort brought only fleeting relief. Finally, on June 2, 1926, Hersal Thomas died in Detroit, his brilliant future stolen by a single poisoned meal. His passing was more than a personal tragedy, it was a devastating loss for the music world and a stark reflection of an era when Black artists fought to shine on stage while enduring the hidden dangers surrounding their work. One performance, one meal, and a cold ending that left an aching silence in the history of blues and boogie-woogie, a legacy interrupted far too soon. Stanley Okoro. Stanley Okoro. A breakfast laced with poison ended the life of a beloved Nollywood comedy star. Known as a vibrant comedian and digital content creator, Stanley Okoro brought laughter to millions of viewers across Nigeria, the United States, and beyond. On August 11, 2021, the morning in Ugu, Maryland, started quietly like any other. After spending the night preparing for an upcoming shoot, Stanley stepped out of his hotel to grab breakfast. What seemed like an ordinary meal soon turned into a devastating nightmare. Just 20 minutes after eating, he began feeling overwhelmingly exhausted, gripped by intense, burning pain in his stomach. Before he could even make it to the bathroom, he vomited violently, the dark, tar-like substance and its harsh odor shocking everyone nearby. Moments later, his body gave way. He collapsed to the floor, convulsing uncontrollably as a searing pain spread through his chest. His eyes clenched shut, his hands trembling as panic filled the room. Colleagues and hotel staff rushed to call emergency services, but time moved cruelly fast. Family members later revealed that only a matter of minutes passed between the meal and the heartbreaking announcement of his death. At first, many assumed it was a tragic case of severe food poisoning. But Stanley's family, led by his brother Adza Okoro, refused to accept unanswered questions. An autopsy later revealed the shocking truth. Stanley had died from a powerful toxic substance introduced into his body from an external source. Toxicology experts explained that the black vomit and intense burning pain pointed to exposure to a highly corrosive poison capable of destroying the stomach lining and triggering rapid multi-organ failure. Even the healthiest individuals could not withstand such an assault. Severe internal bleeding, electrolyte collapse, and sudden anaphylactic shock can happen within minutes. In Stanley's case, his heart rhythm became dangerously irregular, his blood pressure plummeted, and organ failure struck so quickly that medical intervention stood little chance. Devastated and determined, his family declared it was no accident but murder. They described Stanley as a kind, joyful soul who held no grudges, though he had one weakness: a deep love for good food. They believe that vulnerability may have allowed someone, possibly envious of his rising success, to tamper with his meal. Despite appeals and clear autopsy findings suggesting foul play, silence slowly overshadowed the case. Authorities never publicly identified a suspect, and no arrest warrant was officially issued. Stanley's death left behind unanswered questions and a haunting reminder of the jealousy that can lurk behind the glittering facade of fame in the entertainment world. In the aftermath, fans and fellow performers flooded social media with clips, photos, and heartfelt stories celebrating the laughter he gave to the world. Yet beneath every tribute remained an ache of loss and helplessness. One ordinary breakfast changed everything, and the bright future of a young star was gone forever. 9 people. 9 once famous lives, celebrated, powerful, surrounded by wealth and fans, yet all brought down by something as ordinary as a cup of tea, a glass of whiskey, or even a single apple. Do these stories remind you how fragile life truly is? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Every perspective helps uncover more truth behind these mysterious and controversial deaths. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss upcoming videos as we continue exploring the chilling realities behind the loss of beloved celebrities.